A quiet evening at the hardware store. You are walking into a hardware store. It is a Tuesday evening just after 6 p.m. The parking lot is almost empty. There are only a few cars left. A shopping cart sits alone near the entrance, slightly crooked on the uneven asphalt. The automatic doors slide open slowly. A small gust of cool air meets you at the entrance. The store smells like lumber and machine oil and something faintly metallic. It is a familiar smell, a comfortable smell. The lights inside are bright but not harsh. Long white fluorescent tubes run the length of the ceiling in straight, even rows. They hum very quietly if you listen closely. Most people never notice the hum. You notice it now. An employee in an orange vest is pushing a flat trolley near the entrance. The wheels squeak softly with every push. He doesn't look up. He is focused on his work, moving slowly and steadily down the aisle. You pick up a small red basket near the door. It is lightweight and smooth. The handle makes a soft clicking sound as you lift it. You don't need much today, just a few small things. You walk toward the first aisle. The floors are pale gray concrete, polished smooth. Your footsteps make a soft sound with each step, not loud, just present, a steady rhythm as you walk. The first aisle is fasteners, thousands of small metal things in small plastic bins, screws of every length, bolts, washers, wing nuts. Each bin has a small white label with tiny black text. The labels are very neat and orderly. Someone took great care arranging them. You stop and look at a bin of small brass screws. They are very shiny, perfectly identical, each one exactly the same as the next. You pick one up and turn it slowly between your fingers. It is cool and smooth and very small. You set it back gently. You move on to the next aisle. Paint. Hundreds of small rectangular cards fanned out in neat rows on the wall. Every shade imaginable. Pale creams and soft whites, dusty blues and sage greens, warm taupes and gentle grays. The names on the cards are soothing. Morning Mist, Quiet Shore, Pale Linen, Gentle Fern. You pull out a card called Soft Clay. It is a warm, muted beige. You hold it up and look at it for a moment. It is a very pleasant color, calm and understated. You put it in your basket even though you have no immediate plans to paint anything. Further down the aisle, a woman is comparing two shades of white. She holds them up side by side and tilts her head slightly. She is taking her time. There is no hurry. The store is quiet. Nobody is waiting. You round the corner into the lumber section. The smell of fresh cut wood is stronger here. Pine and cedar and something earthy. The boards are stacked in long, neat rows on heavy metal shelves. Some are rough and pale. Others are smooth and golden. You run your hand along the edge of a pine board as you walk past. It is slightly rough under your fingertips, warm from the store lights above. A man in a yellow hard hat is measuring a long piece of wood on a flat table near the back. He moves his tape measure slowly and carefully. He marks a small pencil line. He checks it again. Then he checks it one more time. He is in no hurry either. You make your way toward the back of the store, past the plumbing aisle with its rows of white pipes and copper fittings, past the electrical aisle with its neat coils of wire and rows of gray junction boxes. Everything is organized and orderly. Everything is in its place. Near the back, there is a small garden section. Even though it is evening, the plants look fresh and green under the grow lights above them. Small terracotta pots sit in neat rows on a low wooden shelf. Some have tiny labels stuck in the soil: lavender, rosemary, mint, thyme. You crouch down and look at a small lavender plant. It is compact and neat with tiny pale purple flowers just beginning to open at the tips. You lean in slightly. It smells faintly of lavender, soft and clean and very calming. You stay there for a moment, crouching by the lavender plant in the quiet hardware store. The fluorescent lights hum gently above you. Somewhere in the store, a trolley wheel squeaks softly and then goes quiet. The air is cool and still. You stand up slowly. You look down at your basket. The paint card, soft clay, a very pleasant color for a wall somewhere, someday. You make your way to the front of the store. There is one checkout open. A young woman with her hair pulled back is standing behind the register. She smiles when she sees you approaching, a quiet, unhurried smile. She scans the paint card. It makes a soft beep. She places it in a small paper bag. She tells you the total in a calm, even voice. You pay. She thanks you. You thank her. You walk back through the automatic doors. The evening air outside is cool and fresh. The parking lot is quieter now than when you arrived. The sky has deepened to a soft, dark blue. One or two stars are just beginning to appear. You walk slowly to your car. You place the small paper bag on the passenger seat. You sit for a moment before starting the engine. The store glows warmly behind you. Inside, someone is still slowly pushing a trolley, the wheels still squeaking softly. Everything calm, everything still, everything exactly as it should be. You close your eyes for just a moment. There is nowhere to be, nothing to do, just this quiet evening, just this stillness, just this gentle, comfortable feeling of everything being perfectly ordinary and perfectly fine. A quiet browse through Millfield Antiques. You are pushing open the door to a small antique shop on a quiet street. A brass bell above the door makes a soft, gentle chime as you enter. The sound fades slowly into the warm, still air of the shop. The smell inside is immediate and comforting. Old wood and dusty paper and something faintly like beeswax polish. It is the smell of many old things gathered together in one place over many years. It settles around you like a blanket. The shop is narrow but deep. Wooden shelves line every wall from floor to ceiling. Glass cabinets run down the center of the room in 2 long rows. Everything is arranged with quiet care. Labels written in small, neat handwriting identify each item. A price. Sometimes a brief note about its origin. An elderly man sits behind a wooden counter near the back of the shop. He is reading a paperback book with a faded green cover. He looks up when you enter and gives a small nod. Then he looks back down at his book. There is no pressure here, no sales pitch, just a quiet acknowledgement that you are welcome to take your time. You begin at the shelves nearest the door, a row of ceramic jugs in muted earthy tones, cream and brown and a soft faded green, each one slightly different from the next, some with small chips on the rim, some with faint crazing in the glaze. Each one has lived a long, quiet life somewhere before ending up here. You pick up a small brown jug. It fits perfectly in your hand. It is heavier than it looks. The glaze is smooth and cool against your palm. You turn it over gently and look at the base, a small stamp in pale blue, a maker's mark from somewhere long ago. You set it back carefully on the shelf. The next shelf holds a collection of old clocks. None of them are running. They stand in silent rows, their hands stopped at various times. 10 past 3, 20 to 7, just gone midnight. Each one frozen at its own quiet moment. You look at each face in turn. Ornate brass hands, simple painted numerals, one with a small crack running through the glass face like a thin, pale river. Further along there are stacks of old books. Their spines are faded and soft, titles in gold and burgundy and dark blue lettering. Some you recognize, most you don't. You pull one out slowly and hold it in both hands. The cover is cloth-bound and slightly worn at the corners. You open it to a random page somewhere in the middle. The paper is thin and slightly yellowed. The text is small and dense and printed in a font that feels unhurried somehow. You read one sentence, then you close it gently and slide it back into its place. You move down to the glass cabinets in the center of the room. Inside one cabinet, a collection of silver spoons lies on a square of faded green velvet. Each spoon has a slightly different pattern on its handle. Flowers, leaves, a tiny crest of some kind. They gleam softly under the warm light of the shop. In the next cabinet there are old photographs in small oval frames, black and white images of people long gone, a woman in a high-collared dress looking just past the camera with a calm, steady expression, a man in a hat standing beside a motor car on a dusty road. An older couple sit together across the aisle saying nothing. You look at each face for a moment, wondering about their quiet, ordinary lives. Near the back of the shop there is a low wooden chest with a slightly warped lid. On top of it sits a collection of glass bottles in various shades, pale green and soft amber and a deep cobalt blue. The afternoon light catches the blue one and throws a faint-colored shadow on the wall behind it. You watch the shadow for a moment, still and calm and very faintly blue. The elderly man turns a page in his book. The sound is barely audible in the quiet shop. A clock on the wall behind him ticks steadily, soft and even and unhurried. You make your way slowly back toward the front of the shop. You stop at a small table near the door covered in a faded cloth. On it sits a collection of smooth river stones in a shallow wooden bowl. You run your fingers through them slowly. They click softly against each other, each one cool and smooth and perfectly weighted in your hand. You pick one up, a pale gray stone, almost perfectly oval. It is very smooth, very calm. You hold it in your closed hand for a moment. Then you set it gently back in the bowl. The brass bell chimes softly as you open the door to leave. The elderly man looks up from his book once more and gives a small, slow nod. You step out into the quiet street. The door closes gently behind you. The bell fades to silence. You walk slowly down the street. The afternoon is cool and still. Somewhere behind you, the antique shop sits quietly on its corner, full of old, calm things, each one waiting patiently in the warm, still air. A quiet train journey through the countryside. You are sitting by the window of a train. The seat beneath you is firm and slightly worn. The fabric is a faded blue-gray. It is comfortable in a plain, unhurried way. The train is moving at a steady, gentle pace. Not fast, not slow. Just a long, smooth rhythm that you can feel faintly through the seat and the floor and the window glass when you rest your head lightly against it. Outside the window, the countryside moves past in long, slow sweeps. Wide, flat fields in various shades of green and pale gold. Low hedgerows separating one field from the next in long, winding lines. Here and there, a single tree standing alone in the middle of a field, its branches very still in the calm gray afternoon. The sky is overcast, but softly so, not dark or heavy, just a gentle, even gray that diffuses the light evenly across everything below it. Everything outside looks calm and unhurried under that quiet sky. The carriage around you is nearly empty. 3 or 4 other passengers sit at various distances. A woman near the front is looking at something in her lap. A man 2 rows behind you has his eyes closed and his head resting against the headrest. An older couple sit together across the aisle saying nothing, just watching the countryside pass in comfortable silence. The train makes a soft, rhythmic sound as it moves along the track. A low, steady clatter that repeats evenly and never changes. It is a very soothing sound, constant and reliable, like a slow, quiet heartbeat. You look out the window. A small village passes slowly, a cluster of pale stone houses with gray slate roofs. A church tower just visible above the roofline. A narrow road winding between the houses and then out again into open fields. Then the village is gone and there are fields again, wide and quiet and very green. A river appears alongside the track, wide and slow moving with a surface that reflects the gray sky above it in long pale ribbons. Willows trail their branches into the water along the bank. Their reflections stretch and ripple very slightly in the gentle current. You watch the river for a long time as it runs alongside the train, calm and unhurried and going its own quiet way. Then the river bends away and disappears behind a line of trees, and there are fields again. The train passes through a small station without stopping, an empty platform, a single bench, a hanging basket with pale flowers just visible as the train moves through and out the other side. Gone in a moment. Quiet again. A gentle announcement comes over the speaker, a calm, even voice naming the next stop. The words are soft and unhurried. The announcement ends and the carriage returns to its gentle, steady quiet. You shift slightly in your seat and settle deeper into the cushion. You rest your head more fully against the cool glass of the window. Outside, the countryside continues its slow, unhurried passing, field after field after field. A farmhouse in the distance with a light on in one window. A dirt track leading away between 2 hedgerows toward nowhere in particular. The light outside is beginning to soften very gradually, the gray sky taking on the faintest, warmer tone toward the horizon. Evening is coming slowly and gently. There is no hurry. The train rocks very slightly from side to side, a gentle, almost imperceptible motion, like being carried, like being looked after. The steady rhythm of the track continues beneath you, even and constant and very calm. You close your eyes for a moment. The sound of the train fills your awareness softly, that low, steady rhythm, that gentle rocking, the faint, cool feeling of the glass against your temple. The countryside continues outside the window, wide and quiet and endlessly, peacefully passing. There is nothing to do, nowhere to be, just this seat, just this window, just this long, slow journey through the quiet evening countryside, just the train, moving steadily onward, carrying you gently forward into the soft, still dark.